Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I am your Evelyn Hoshorty. I'd like to say this is what I've been looking forward to for a long time, but it isn't, because Denise Camp sent me, and a whole bunch of people, not just me, an advance copy of Children of the Vault, so I already read it a while ago. I was looking forward to getting my hands on a physical copy. I absolutely was. I am not going to lie about that. But it's not like I hadn't already read it, and I knew what I was going into. I knew how much of a treat this was going to be for a variety of reasons. But what I'd done was read it once and then not gone back and read it to wait until I got it. So with a bit of time and distance, there's some things which stood out a little bit more for me. First off, I'm going to say the artwork, because my first read-through of this, I was very much like, this is Marvel in-house style. And I think it was kind of hindered a little bit by it being a digital copy, so it was all shiny in a way that Marvel comics tend to go, and I'm not a big fan of that. But it's good quality Marvel in-house style. There's some nice visual gags in there as well. The action sequences are fantastic and really good characterization. Nothing wrong with it whatsoever. It is better as a physical thing, but it is still... The art is not the reason I'm getting it, but it certainly is good enough if that's what you're looking for. What I'm getting is Denise Camp. If you don't know him, he is an absolutely amazing writer who did 20th Century Men, which I absolutely love, one of my all-time favourite comic books, and I've been paying attention to him for a while because of that. And when I saw he was going to do a Marvel comic book, I was a little bit shocked, because his style and what he writes about feels like it might rub some people at the Marvel or Disney or something like that up the wrong way a little bit. But he has a knack of getting away with stuff and writing just generally good comic books too. And this is a good comic book. It has quite a bit of sci-fi fun for it at the beginning and throughout as well. There's some moments where I think if you weren't expecting a big over-the-top sci-fi thing, it might brush off a little bit, but it's also got some very clear big sci-fi elements. It reminds me a little bit of the Culture series in the terms of there is this really advanced society that can do pretty much anything they want and reorganize matter to make things easier for everyone. But the question is, are you free in that society, or do you have to do what the culture tells you what to do so you can enjoy the benefits of it? And this is where we get into the reasons why I like Denise Camp, because he actually has dropped in quite a few little moral things in here, which I quite like, some more subtle than others. One of the more subtle ones is this idea of, are you free in a utopia, or do you still have to abide by the rules of the utopia? Can it be a utopia if you're not free? These are big concepts to discuss in a superhero comic book about mutants, with jokes the fact that Cable looks like Josh Brolin. I mean, it feels like it's a bit of a stretch, but he makes it work because he does it subtly. It's not just, here is a thing, I'm going to make you question it. He does do a couple which are a little bit more front and center, but one of them I think deserves to be front and center. It's talking about like how lithium mining is like absolutely ravaging places in the global south, and a huge cause of poverty, because it's taking over land and polluting water, and the actual country is gaining very little benefit from this. It's going into making sure people in the global north can have smartphones and tablets, and you can watch my YouTube video that I'm recording on a tablet. But it didn't need to be subtle. This is something people should know about. If they didn't, I'm glad he's talking about it. The other one that's slightly less subtle but still kind of out there, sorry, slightly more subtle but still kind of out there, is this idea that when you hang out with difference between Cable and Bishop, Cable is a very powerful mutant who can travel through time and such things, and manage to procure some very good property in a very hard to get enabled by buying it in 1890 for not much money, very much leaning into this idea of inherited wealth and privilege, whereas Bishop, who has been actually fighting against this cause of oppression and trying to do something about it in any small way he can. He's having to be homeless while he does it and lives on the street. And I don't think it's a subtle thing that one of them is the Josh Brolin white guy, another one is clearly not. Then we get on to my favourite bit, because this one is really subtle, and the first time I was reading it, I think I fell into the trap he had laid, which is by making something happen which is exceptionally dark and disturbing and should challenge your beliefs on what you think is right and or wrong. But he does it in a way which has a really nice, jokey feel to it at the end. Don't get me wrong, it's very dark, it's very dry, but you also can't deny it's funnily written. And don't get me wrong, there's some more obvious jokes early on in there, like everything being better in the 90s, meaning the 1890s. That's just a funny gag, I like that one. But this one, it's Cable taking over the minds of some Orchis soldiers and making them believe that they are in fact secret mutant infiltrators and they will die for Arrakis and the people fighting for it. And they do indeed die, only one of which survives the encounter, and in an attempt to flee, he jumps off the roof of a building thinking his mutant power is flight, and he falls to his almost death. Punctured lungs, broken bones, everything, and his only last wish is that he be buried on the soil of Arrakis, which is clearly denied. And it's done in such a way that you don't feel sorry for the guy until you start thinking that this is a huge imposition. This is taking away all agency. This is removing all options of consent. This is a dark thing that he has done, but is it worth it to do what his end goal is? And it did make me think. And I think the jokey bit at the end, it helps sweeten the pill a little bit, but I still think it's worth thinking about. And the comic book is full of these kind of things. They are all over the place, and I can't wait for more of it. I'm really curious to see how it's going to end and what these characters are going to be doing, where the other mutants are, because it is worth pointing out, if you haven't read the Hellfire Gala this year, you get a little brief snippet explaining what's going on, but I haven't, and I was like, what the hell? It was good though. I like a good writer can drop you in the middle of a story like that and make it make perfect sense. And yeah, as you've probably gathered by now, I think Camp is one of those writers, so yay, good on him. I hope you're lucky to get a copy of this, and I think if you've not read a Marvel Mutant story for a while, this one could be what convinces you to give it a try. That's it for me for now. Till I see you again, look after each other, everyone. Stay safe. Bye.